I played Starfield. I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, it was just okay. It did fall short in terms of my expectations of what it could have been. Now, as a result of that, I've not really invested in Shattered Space. A lot of the reviews have basically said that while it's good in some elements, overall, it doesn't really bring much to the original base game. It's not much of a DLC in terms of the story and the environments and what have you. So I'm going to be giving that a miss. What it does mean is that my schedule is now open, so I'm just really waiting for the 31st of October for the Veilguard. Now, a lot of people are in the same position as I am, but rather than sitting down and just waiting, they are playing all of the previous Dragon Age games, reading up on the comics and the books, getting themselves ready, equipping themselves with the lore so that they can jump straight in. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. I probably won't be. I'm just going to jump in right there and just get on with it. Now, what I really want to focus on today are some of the gameplay options that were revealed by BioWare this week, and also include accessibility options. So we're going to take a look at this right now. Okay, we're here on the Dragon Age website, courtesy of BioWare, and we can see Journal 10, accessibility spotlight, but it's also talking about gameplay options. So let's take a look at what they have posted. So we've got this nice little screen here. No doubt we'll come across this once we're going through character creation. We've got an introduction. Hey everyone, today we want to share many of the accessibility features in Dragon Age the Veilguard. Regardless of skill level or ability, we want everyone to be able to enjoy the full experience and story of our game. There are several features and settings to customize the game to meet your individual needs, so let's dig in. Well, why don't we? First off, let's discuss combat and the difficulty settings. During character creation, players can select from one of 5 curated difficulty levels or create a completely customized experience. Now that I do find interesting, but more about that later on. So we can see the difficulty levels here. We've got Storyteller, Keeper, Adventurer, Underdog, Nightmare, and Unbound. This is a very interesting one. Now, for me, I think I'll probably be somewhere between Adventurer and Underdog. Probably Adventurer, because if I look at the description here, it's a balanced experience that places equal emphasis on combat, party composition, and equipment choices. That sounds kind of where I want to be. I don't want to go for Storyteller because it's really just about the story. Other elements aren't important. I want to play the game where my party composition, my choices do have an actual impact. So Adventurer for the very first playthrough is probably what I'm going to be going for. Let me know what you think, what you're going to go for when you start this game. Just add the comment below. Now we've got Unbound. I mean, we've got Underdog, Push to the Limit, Nightmare. You know, those modes have always existed in a lot of games. Unbound, where you've got the ability to customize all settings, which I find very interesting indeed. Settings impact numerous aspects of gameplay. If this is your first time, consider a curated preset instead. Well, you've been warned. I think that's what they're saying there. It does go on to say, even after selecting a difficulty, there are more combat options available in the settings menu if you wish to make further adjustments. For example, you can adjust elements like parry timing. I think I might be, maybe. Aim assist, strength, or even how aggressive enemies are. See below for a full list of combat settings. Well, what we've got below is a screenshot of the interface settings, which looks quite interesting. Let's see what's going on there. So, UI and Heads-up display elements are also customizable, again as you would expect. Many elements of the HUD can be conditionally hidden or turned off entirely. For example, you can fully hide elements like Rook's health. I can't imagine needing or wanting to do that. The objective tracker, I might turn that off. Or the minimap, definitely keeping that on. There are also options for the text size in the UI, again, as you would expect if you're trying to make sure that everyone can access the game. So we can see this screenshot here for subtitle settings, of whether they're animated, the color, speaker name, Rook's name color, NPC name color, all of that. Very helpful indeed. Some accessibility aids for interface elements. They're fully customizable, allowing you to modify things like the size, opacity, speaker names, and color. Again, all good if we're trying to ensure that as many people as possible can access this. Now, visuals for lots of people, for me certainly, very important, incredibly important. I try as much as possible to play the game with the maximum visual fidelity that I can get out of my graphics card, which actually ends up sounding like an aeroplane taxiing on the runway when it's running. But there you go. So we've got things like depth of field that we can enable if we want. We've got the standard brightness, contrast. The graphics mode is either, based on what I can see, they're going to be based on quality versus performance. You've got vignette, motion blur. I'll be keeping those on. Beyond the UI and HUD, there are a few more options regarding the game's visual effects. For anyone who deals with motion sickness, there's a persistent dot option, motion blur, as I said, in-game camera shake. Interesting. Okay. So, all of that we can see in the accessibility options here. As you would expect, the controls can be mapped to any buttons that we want, as it says in this last section here. As discussed in the PC Features blog, all inputs are remappable for gameplay in Dragon Age the Veilguard on both controller and keyboard for all platforms. Good news for people who are going to be playing on console as well as PC players like myself. Again, as one would expect. And then it kind of ends with a full list of all of the audio control settings that we can remap, all the things that we can adjust in terms of combat. They're listed here. Exploration, visual, UI, some of which we mentioned. You've got the full list there. And then that's pretty much it for journal number 10. So we've got a lot more information in terms of how things are actually going to be adjustable in the game once we get our hands on it on the 31st of October. Okay, that's it. As per usual, if you have any comments or suggestions, please add them below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.